Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. 3v3 Grand Arena is just around the corner, and now it's time for all of us to wake up from our mass amnesia from last 3v3 season. I know I forget the comps after a month doing 5v5, and I'm pretty sure a lot of you do too. So I'm going to go over what the best comps are for offense only, defense only, and then flex teams. Teams that could go either way. That's where a lot of the strategy goes. Not everyone's going to have all these comps, but I hope you can at least extrapolate what the best use of them would be from the comps that I show that I have. So let's get into it. As we start, it's worth noting that the datacron shift this season is massive. Set 9 is gone. We have set 10, which is all offense. Some abilities are helpful for defense. All the stats are just offense heavy. Set 11, which has some defensive stats, but nowhere near the defensive chops of set 9, where we have less health and protection to go through. Defense is back, which is going to be a concern, but for the most part, it's just a less durable landscape that we're going to see this season. And we're starting out with our offensive only comps. I think Sprinkler Kylo still needs to be offense only, and this comp I had great success with last season, even with the Thick Cron against Jabba the Hutt teams, Jabba, Boosh, Santon, and I plan on using that as my primary go-to this season. With pleasure. I mean, before I had used Jedi Master Kenobi, I chose to use him all the time, and it didn't work as well. But this saves Watt for maybe Sith Eternal Emperor or armor for him too. So I think it's really nice freeing up Watt because everyone wants him. Jedi Master Luke, set 11, we do have protection as a stat again, so hopefully you can get a good protection cron because that really helps this guy out. The more the better. And his comp, it's kind of up in the air. I mean, there's a lot of good Jedi out there. A lot of times I'll just use Jedi Knight Luke and Hermit Yoda, but that's because I don't have Jedi Cal. So keep that in mind. He might be able to beat Lord Vader with Jedi Knight Revan and Jedi Knight Luke. I'm not sure. But he's going to be a pretty strong comp. If you want to go against Jedi Master Kenobi, you can bring in Jedi Master Luke, Jedi Knight Revan, and Grandmaster Yoda, and that usually can get it done. Moving on, we got Sith Eternal Emperor, as I mentioned, putting Wat Tambor in there. It's going to be really nice, just a two-man, most non-Galactic Legend stuff you see out there. Oldaka and Zombie, I think these are the two you can probably take out of a Knight Sister comp, even if you have Marin. I think and we'll get to that later. But Oldaka and Zombie, they could go with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren too, although not quite as good as in 5v5. But Sith Eternal Emperor, Oldaka, and Zombie, they can sometimes beat JMK too, so keep that in mind. That's a good option. And then this is the speculation of the season: Maul, Canderous, and Imperial Super Commando. Imperial Super Commando has been absolutely dominating in 5v5, even after they fixed his kit. All they did was gate this ability, the true damage, behind a team of full Dark Side Mandos or Empire. So no Watt in there to get them going. But in 3v3, since you're getting more attacks out of turn with the true damage, I think Canderous is the other key element there. But you're going to have to outrace with just Maul. You need Maul. My Maul's pretty fast, so I may be able to make something work here. With 340 speed, if you outrun a team, you could probably just gun them down pretty fast. And as I mentioned, I don't have Cal Kestis, but if you do, I think it's a pretty powerful comp of Jedi Knight Luke, Mace, and Cal. People last season, I think Bastila could work, but that was because of her Bastila Datacron. I think you don't want to skimp when using Jedi Cal. You need a good leader, Jedi Knight Luke, Jedi Knight Revan, or Jedi Master Luke. Although Jedi Master Luke feels like a little bit of overkill. It just depends. And I like Mace in there. He's a tank, helps swap to, well, he's not going to swap turns with these guys because they're not Galactic Republic. I think you want some kind of tank in there, and extra damage is great. This comp is probably going to be good to take out Malgus, especially without the Thick Cron on Malgus' side, but I don't know. And this team, not as good. It's really fallen a lot between set 9 and set 11 coming out. One, because they don't make as much use out of set 10 because they all do special damage, and armor penetration doesn't do squat for this team. Revan, Yoda, and Bastila are all special damage only. Jolie has physical, but who cares? They're not going to be as durable without the Bastila Cron, so it's going to be really situational how you use them. I will feel less bad about putting Jedi Knight Revan with the Jedi Master Luke if I need to. But this team not going to be on defense anymore. That's why it's only an offensive team. And then here, I saved Bosk for a team with Boba Fett and Jango because that can be good to handle a lot of no revive teams. So that'll leave us with either using our Sing lead with Mando and Grief, or Fennec Shan leave Fennec and Grief with Grief and Mando. Might be able to take out a Lord Vader, depending on the comp. You gotta be careful with Maul, but with the Thick Ron gone, should be a little bit easier to pull off. But also Fennec is special damage only, so don't give Armor Pen to this team because it's not really gonna help out. And then Bad Batch. The common comp to use is Hunter, Echo, and Tech, and for the most part, that's going to be the best. But if you're facing a Sortie, General Grievous, Droideka comp, I think you want Wrecker in there. It seemed to work a lot better for me last season. He's the tank, he gets the true damage up, that's going to hit the AoE. So even if you're stuck behind for a little bit against a Droideka with damage immunity, you're going to get that damage done, and Wrecker's going to soak up a lot of the punches. Next up, we got Gas, and Gas is, I'm not sure exactly what to do with Gas this season, because I used to use this always before on a Seer team. I don't know if that's going to work anymore with Arc, just Arc and Echo. I like those two because they dispel debuffs. It's really nice. But in 5v5, I feel much more comfortable with that counter because you get all the parts. You get 5s for his sacrifice in there. You get Rex for his turn meter gain and his Rexilate. But if you have a lot of armor pen and the damage reduction on Gas, maybe that's going to work. This isn't a team I'd throw on defense, though, and it's not the strongest Gas team. So it's kind of a TBD on how we best use Gas. Wampa, armor penetration is going to be great for him. I didn't always find a way to use him, but Rebels are a good target. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we find some use for him. Armor penetration's great, and just don't bite off more than you can chew. Next, we got Imperial Troopers, and they're really buffed up this season. They have their own datacron set for the first time, not just Empire, Imperial Troopers, and maybe this could be a defensive team. I don't know. But with those buffs on the level 3, the offense up, crit chance up, crit damage up, they're going to be running circles around people as soon as you get the turn off. So you want a fast Piet. Defense, I think there's usually plenty of ways to exploit them. That's why I say no defense. But who knows? The sky's the limit for them this season. I don't know if they'll be GL killers. They'd have to be really fast to do that. Like, I don't know. Keep an eye out for them. I like the plus 400% offense on the level 6, the special buffs on level 3, and they don't really have a level 9 that works for them in 3v3 with that comp. Next, this is if you don't run Hux with Supreme Leader Kylo Ren, you can run this team. If you have the Omicron First Order TIE Pilot, it's good for a lot of extra speed. You just get out there, full send with Hux, take someone out, and then it's pretty easy to pick off the last two. But I haven't used this in a while myself, honestly. Geonosians, where I'm at, it's pretty good cleanup, and I like it on offense. I wouldn't say defense is a really good option for it because Darth Vader doesn't have a lot of uses right now, but he can do some work on Geonosians, so keep them for offense if you have them, or use Geonosian Brute Alpha just as a pre-taunting tank. Radis. This team is really nice on offense. You don't even have to mod them particularly well. You just need Radis to be thick and pretty fast. I neglect mods on Cassian and Jyn, but it's just the AI is so dumb. They go for Jyn, you get tons of exposed on the other team, and you can take them out. I wouldn't trust this against the Tuskens with their Omicron, the Tusken Raider Omicron to be specific, but against a lot of stuff, it's just something nice to keep in your back pocket, and without the thick datacron, I don't think it has as much play on defense either. Next we have Padme, and Padme is actually pretty versatile. If you use General Kenobi, if you use Mace with JMK or something, and you have General Kenobi available, Padme, Ahsoka, and GK are really nice. Otherwise, you can put in Mace or something, and it works pretty well. Alternatively, this works very well as a Gidme team, which means Moff Gideon and then one more support Galactic Republic Jedi. Ayla with her datacron is particularly interesting for this, for set 10. But Yoda would work, sometimes R2-D2 works, it just depends. And you just gotta be choosy with how you use that, but that's an offense only thing. And on defense, I don't think Padme is gonna be that great either. Mon Mothma, I have this as cleanup, but I also have them in flex with Cara Dune because they have a 75% damage reduction, which is gonna really change things. The Newt Jango B1 is something I like to keep on offense because I still was able to counter Qui-Gon Jinn with it, and Qui-Gon Jinn is a very strong team with set 10. It's very tailored to that type of team, but Jango Fett starts with damage immunity, so he doesn't care how much damage Anakin does. Newt has an extra life. MB1 doesn't care if you do 1,000,000 damage or 2 damage, he's going to lose 8 stacks. So it's fantastic counter there. And as I alluded to earlier, Boss with Boba Fett and Jango, this is great for revive teams because Boba Fett and Jango can't prevent revives. Boba with his rocket, Jango just on his turn if you have that Zeta. So for Night Sisters, I think it's going to be a good play, especially since they don't have their datacron anymore. And for the Tusken Raider Omicron, if you get a lot of armor penetration on this team, they're not thick anymore, so I think you can actually probably beat that with this team. Then Darth Vader, he's kind of a vagrant right now in my mind. Give him a pre-taunt. Thrawn is nice for him. Alternatively, Moff Gideon if you don't use him in a Gimme team. But Thrawn might not be available because he goes well with Lord Vader. I honestly don't get a lot of use for Darth Vader right now, which is kind of sad since he is theoretically so strong. But just so many things are tailored against the way he does things. Then Dash, you need his Omicron, but Dash with Vader Chewie can really get some work done. They can take out J Master Luke, do other stuff. I don't know if you want young Lando or someone else like the L3 or young Han, but neither of those I have. It's just something to keep in mind. And then backup clones, if you don't use Auric and Echo with General Skywalker, you can use them with Shaak Ti, but it's not really going to stop anything on defense, so offense only for that. And that is it for the offense only teams. We've got the defense only teams, and this is the shortest list out of the three, because a lot of the best teams on defense are also going to be able to get some good done on offense. But starting with Zoria Bliss, this is still a pretty strong team. They did like the thick datacron, just because them being able to survive a little bit more, it gives them more of a chance to just blow you away. But I think they're still going to be good. I mean, they're going to get some extra offense if you use set 10. Resistance Hero Finn, though, does deal special damage, so be careful. Don't expect a ton from armor penetration because he's not going to do anything. And Zori does do physical damage, but it's kind of splitting the baby there. So I just throw that on defense. On offense, doesn't really have too much play. And then I know that I've always said this. I know Darth Revan and Bastila Shan Fallen are the best support from Malgus, but I think putting Marauder and Talon, you might get better value out of it because if they use Jedi Knight Cal, they feel like they're not getting a bargain, and then you have two really strong teams left. And I think you do still need something pretty tough to take this on. I don't know if Bounty Hunters is safe, if there's any comp that's really, really reliable. If you have a skilled opponent that might be able to get through with something easy. But Malgus, he does take a step down without set 9 because he loses both the Sith abilities and the bulkiness. I don't know, give him something from set 11 with some good defense if you have it. Then the Rex. Captain Rex doesn't go with Phoenix in 5v5, he goes with clones pretty convincingly because his Phoenix clause isn't active in 3v3. And you can't make a full team, and with Phoenix, you need everyone there for it to work. This seemed to be the most popular last season. I don't know if maybe you can run 5s lead with Rex and then someone else. But Rex, and 5s, really strong if you didn't have the right thing. Qui-Gon Jinn kills it pretty easily. But other than that, it was really tough to stop. So just if your opponent keeps Qui-Gon Jinn on offense, might not be the best. If they leave it on defense, it's going to be hard to deal with. Then Tuskens. In 3v3, I actually still really like the Tuskens. Tusken Raider Omicron is one of the most annoying things out there if you don't have the right thing to counter. I think Armor Pen might be pretty nice for this because you do have physical damage on Tusken Warrior, but you might want to go for some defense stats from set 11. And it just depends what you have available. But it's just, they're going to have to beat you. You don't have to beat them. It's a really annoying team. The Zeta with the dots, that's really annoying. It's a pain. So if you have it, throw it down, but without Omicron, it's pretty trash. Next, this is a Seer team if you don't have Malicos. I like it on defense. Either Ahsoka Fulcrum with Kylo Ren Master or Ahsoka Fulcrum with Cal Kestis. You have to have Ahsoka Fulcrum because you need some bite to the team other than Seer's lightsaber throw. Cal Kestis might be good with Galactic Legend Ray, but I think Starkiller this season is going to have their number. So, I don't know. Kylo Mass is nice too, however, I wouldn't do that because I need him with Supreme Lord Kylo. And then Mindstock, I think a lot of people, like Santa Stars has fallen out of favor with a lot of people, but I think a good comp is Rolo, and either Cara Dune or Stormtrooper Han. I don't think it's very useful. It's definitely not useful on offense, so if you have it and you want to use it, throw it on D. Next, we got some droids, and there's a couple options here. So you can either put Sortie and Grievous together and use Droidica. Omicron's only TW, but It turns out to be kind of annoying. It stops a normal Bad Batch team, but I think it makes it harder for them. But I think Wrecker makes it a lot easier to beat. So it's up to you if you want to set that or split them. This is not as good in 3v3, especially without set 9. Wampa can destroy this, so I don't know. Maybe Grievous should go and flex. I'm not sure what to do with Grievous this season. I'm going to just put these two splits here in case you don't want to do that. Then sorting with BB-8 and R2, it's probably the best light side droid comp, and that can annoy some people with the tenacity down, potential days, and stuns. It could be annoying, but most higher end players are going to know how to handle it. Next, we got a couple options for Hondo. I either like him with Nest under BAM. It's going to be annoying, give him a chance to stall out and get up his stacks. Or you could put him with IG-11 and Queel, which is a good combo, but you don't have a leader ability, so just depends if you want Beskar Mando for offense or not. If you don't, I like this comp better with Nest. And then a couple like throwaways that I'm not like too into, but if you do not have Grand Inquisitor, or if you do have Reva, and you're running Reva, Grand Inquisitor, Seven Sister, you can have this leftover team. If you don't have a super deep team, I don't really use this, but these three together can be difficult to beat if your opponent doesn't have a ton left. If they have a shallow roster too. In the back, maybe they get stuck. Trench Dooku and Wat could be annoying. I'm not really going to use Trench in any capacity because I want Django too much, I want Newt too much on offense, and I want Wat. So I don't know if my Trench is going to do anything. And next, these are two newer teams that you have the chance to have up and running, but you might not. Saw Gerrera, if you have his Omicron, is actually pretty nice. And this datacron set is going to be really annoying to deal with for him. If you have a 75% damage reduction and his level 9, that's really going to be annoying. Cara Dune and Kyle are the best Rebel fighters, so you stick them with him, you're going to have a pretty difficult team to deal with. And then the Tarful, if you have his datacron, the only one you definitely want to have is Zalbar, and I think Vandor Chewie is also a good option just because of the revives. You're going to have to get Vandor Chewie first, but ultimately the third Wookiee in this slot is more or less inconsequential. And that is it for the defense-only squads. And now we come to the meat and potatoes of the video, the flex section. And these are pretty much all the best teams, including 5 Galactic Legends. If you might have noticed, they didn't have any Galactic Legends in a defense-only section, because I think either they're good on offense or defense, or they're only offense. Starting with Giant Master Kenobi, I still think this is the best team. I like it on offense just because it's the easiest to handle, and on defense, it is vulnerable to a Reva. But that might change this season with a 75% damage reduction. General Kenobi might be able to tank the hits. On offense, if you take on Jabba, you want Mace in there with Cat and JMK. Otherwise, General Kenobi is pretty fantastic. This can take out pretty much any other Galactic Legend. I don't know if there's any he really has struggles with. Lord Vader, Jabba fall pretty easily. Might have a trouble against Leia, so we have yet to see that in 3v3. And for Lord Vader, this is the hard one because Maul is popular. He could go with Seer Team. He could go with his own team with Super Commando. We just have yet to see. But if you put him on defense, I think you need Maul and Thrawn. On offense, maybe Royal Guard is nice. But I don't know what to do with Lord Vader exactly this season. If I put him on defense with just tanks or with like Thrawn and Darth Vader, I think it's more vulnerable to bounty hunters or something. So really not sure. Just I know it is flex. It does have some value on defense for sure, and on offense, you can make things work pretty well. Although I wouldn't really trust it against Jabba this season. Then Rey, pretty awesome team, awesome character, of course. I like running her with Ben Solo and JTR. Although Cal Kestis is also a great third for defensive play. However, Starkiller with Riposte, I don't know. All bets are off. The thick Kron is gone. I think Starkiller can rip this to shreds hitting under protection, because all that bonus protection is just hurting Rey because she's sacrificing her health for something that's not going to protect her against Starkiller. Main damage dealer on that team. So keep an eye out. And they're going to get a lot of offensive buffs too. So yeah, I'm not sure. I might just take Rey on offense. And then Jabba, offense or defense. I think I will lean more towards defense with this because it's still something you have to beat. Your only real options are Slicker or JMK, so that's why I think it's really strong on defense. But on offense, the insta-kills cannot be underestimated. I think you want to use a Wookiee DC for Chrysanthemum, either damage reduction or the defense with Foresight, something like that. I don't think you want to use Grit, really. I don't think that really changes a lot of things. But a lot of off-meta against Java is a lot weaker in 3v3. And then some armor penetration or offense or something. I don't know. Then Leia, I'm not sure what we're going to do with her offense or defense. She might be a lot hard to beat on defense in 3v3, but I think Drogon and R2 are pretty much the way to go. They're the ones most baked into her kits, and in 5v5, the 4th and 5th slot are really malleable, but you always only see Drogon or R2, so I think it's pretty clear cut that they're the way to go. Then Gas, I talked about it earlier. I had a different comp in offense only, but this is the best Gas comp, Rex and 5s. They might get countered still by CLS with 2PO and C3PO, because we don't have the thick run anymore, but we do have damage reduction for Jedi, which is going to be really nice, and I think it's going to be key to take on this team if it does work. So if you have Seer, you absolutely have to have Seer. If you have Malicos and Seer, absolutely those two together. I didn't put it here, but Maul could go there. I don't like that idea because it's, I don't know, it's too much, and I don't know. I don't like the thought of it. As far as the third, I don't know if Ahsoka Fulcrum or Cal Kestis is better, because you already have a lot of damage here, so you might not want Ahsoka Fulcrum. You might want Cal to make things annoying to kill. But Ahsoka Fulcrum having a third, like a triple offensive threat, is really scary. That means that anytime Seer, Ahsoka Fulcrum, or Malchus could pop off and really do you in, either if you're using Gas or Traya or whatnot. It's going to be a really strong team. I'm just not sure what the best comp's going to be. Moving on, we got Reva, Darth Revan. They do take a step down with Outset 9 because they really did like the bulkiness. However, armor penetration will be pretty nice to this team. They do a lot of physical damage, and this is going to be great to counter any of your Jedi Galactic Legends, JMK, JML, if you do it right. On defense, they are good, but they're vulnerable to Traya. And I don't know, it just depends what you think your opponent's going to do with Traya. If you have Seer and Malicos too, that's two teams that want Traya, so it's a pretty strong team either on offense or defense. They're just really valuable to have. Darth Revan, I didn't rename it yet. There we go, renamed it from Scary with ability to block datacron to lose a step. They really lose a step after set 9 is gone. They're less durable. The ability block was really annoying to deal with. On defense, they're more vulnerable to a normal Jedi Knight Luke comp. So on offense, it might be the way to go take them on offense, which is a lot of teams just feel more offense-oriented this season. Without the defense, it's going to be hard to stop anyone from doing anything, I feel like. But this is a really strong comp. I like to keep these three together and let Malgus do his thing. Then Aphra. A lot of crit damage, a lot of armor pen. You can do a lot of stuff with this. They're great to take out Zori on defense, or when you see a Zori, if you're using Aphra on offense. On defense, they really suffer against Dash Han and Chewie. They can just get blown away. But if your opponent doesn't use that comp or doesn't pretends to set that on defense, they might have some good play on defense for you. And then the Starkiller team, I added it to flex instead of offense only because I think it's going to be so strong. With Riposte, again, it's going to be so powerful, offensive buffs, and then whatever good stat, the best stats you can get on set 11, just throw it on the team. It's going to be really strong. It's going to dominate Rays. Who knows what else it's going to take a step up with. If you want to go really crazy, you could do like Seer Malicos Starkiller, and maybe that's a thing, but I prefer not to. That's taking two awesome teams and putting it into one. But just look out for this team. And then we got the Rebel splits. Dash takes custody of Han and Chewie, and then CLS gets 3PO and Chewie and C3PO. I still think those are the way to go with these comps. I think the 75% damage reduction for Rebels and not Wookiees is going to be really scary. I always liked to use Iden. I'd get out CLS pretty fast, but if he's taking 75% less damage, that is really intimidating, and their damage scales really well with the exposes. And 3PO and Chewie is going to do a lot of damage. It's going to be a good team, offense or defense. I'm not sure. Then Dash Han Chewie. Before I had this in offense only, but it has some good play on defense. I mean, Han getting out first, stunning, is scary. And Chewbacca's keeping these guys alive pretty well. I think armor penetration with a Wookiee DC is the way to go. If you have a Rebel DC, that's fine too. It just doesn't have armor pen. And then dash, because you gotta kill Chewie first, because both these guys are guarded, and then if Chewie's hard to kill, then it's gonna be hard to deal with. So either way, offense or defense. Then Traya, Savage, and Nihilus is the Traya comp. That's the way to go, I think. If you're not taking on Malicos or Riva, you don't need Savage, and you could use him somewhere else. But for me, I don't know. I might need to keep this on offense all the time because there are just too many strong threats. And we'll see. Maybe Malicos eats this alive in 3v3. I don't know. But it's going to be a really valuable team. Just be careful where you use it. Defense, it's really strong. Offense, really strong. And then the Night Sisters. I'm not sure how well this is going to go for me this season. I don't, because we don't have Night Sister datacrons anymore. And I don't have the Asajj Omicron, but I do have Marin. I think this team is nice to stick together because you don't. Daka's going to revive people. When someone dies, Marin gets triggered. So Daka and Zombie can go better somewhere else. I could be wrong. I'm not an expert on Night Sisters. We're getting close to the end here. And Qui-Gon Jinn with Foresight DC or damage reduction either works pretty well. I have a lot more armor, 75% damage reduction ones, which could throw off a lot of comps if they're not super fast. If they are super fast, you might want just Foresight to get more damage. Armor Pen is fantastic with this team, just incredible. So load it up with Armor Pen. Could get you some defensive stops or kill Captain Rex on offense. And then for Radis, if you do want to run him on defense, which I don't recommend, you need K2SO pretty much. You need some tank. K2SO is the best. I'm going to keep it on offense, but if you have K2, defense is an option. And then Iden, this is a new team to the flex row as well because of the Imperial Trooper datacrons, and if you roll it, Iden has a level 9, which might be good. I didn't evaluate it as particularly strong, but they could do a lot more. The offensive buffs are really going to help them out, so I don't know if they'll be able to stop Wampas now, but it has yet to be seen. Offense or defense could be strong either way. And the last two, Mon Mothma is going to be way better this season with damage reduction. Heard people say the turn meter gain on level 6 might be good too, but I think with damage reduction, this is just going to be a pain. Wampa might even have trouble because if they constantly have a lot of turn meter, Wampa might have trouble chewing through it. So could be offense or defense. And then last, I didn't even include this last season, as Ewoks, and I think they are going to be a flex team. They could be good on defense, and they could be pretty good on offense with the right datacrons. It's irrelevant to me. My Nisa is not going to be relicked for the whole season, I'm pretty sure. But just keep an eye out for them. They're going to ramp pretty good. I don't know if Wicked or Paplus the third, but I know you need Sherpa, Nisa. If you have the Omicron Sherpa, I mean, great. That's going to help you out, but I don't plan on applying that unless it really blows me away after the datacron's gone. But yeah, that is it for flex teams. So that's it for me today, guys. Did I mention everything possible, every possible contingency? No, but these are just the teams I'm going to work with, comps. So I hope it gives you an idea when you're setting your defense and preparing for this Grand Arena. I'm going to have a ship split video soon because the landscape has definitely changed significantly on that. So keep your eyes peeled. Don't forget to like if you enjoyed the video or learned something. And if you haven't already, please consider subscribing. Thanks so much, everyone. See you later.